Welcome to America's Home Cooking. All right, I made some self-rising flour, except it's a European self-rising flour. What they do is they leave the salt out and they put the leavening and the flour in. So I'm going to use this today because I have that leftover sweet potato pie that didn't all fit into the pie. So I'm going to make a muffin out of them. So we're going to use 1.5 cups of all-purpose, self-rising flour, let's say. So see, you can make your own self-rising flour. I showed you how to do it. It's a very easy thing to do. The only thing is I've got to make my salt today because I haven't. So we're going to put, let me get my measuring spoons. We're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt into this. I've got to make my salt today. I just hate using salt like this. I'd rather my kelp. Okay, let's see. I'm going to add some wheat germ in it because we're going to need wheat germ in this. I'm sure everybody's traveling. It's Christmas Eve. Everybody's going crazy trying to get everything done. So this is a self-rising flour we're using. We're going to make sure that we get the B vitamins and we get everything that we need. So we're going to be doing and adding that to it as well. And we're going to add bran to this. I'm using wheat bran this time, but if you have oat, you could use oat, I guess. I'm playing around at this point, so we never know. Happy holidays. Okay? I think, we're going to add 1/4 cup of sugar into this to help bring it up. Okay, I think that's all we're putting in here until I chop the nuts. Now I'm going to be putting pecans in this. I think they'll be nice. Okay, let me turn you down now. I've added everything I told you that I added in here. I'm just going to mix this up. But remember, this is not all-purpose. This is a self-rising European one that I made. I hope this works. If it doesn't, I'm going to be adding more to it. So I'm going to add some nuts to it to give more volume to it. I expect a lot of people to be traveling today and doing what you have to do. I think I'll put 2/3 in again. Nuts. I'm using pecans because they're a milder flavor. If you want more of a woodsy one, you would have to go to the walnuts. But this one is milder and more oily, so I like this one more for this. Taffy, what's wrong with you? I spent time with you this morning. I guess a lot of people will be going to midnight mass tonight. This is 1/3. Throw that into your dries ingredients. Set your oven at 400 and grease your muffin tin. This is how I'm getting rid of leftovers. I'm coming up with some crazy recipes, but they're good. So if you buy self-rising flour from Europe, realize they don't put salt in it. But if you make it, it's really nice to have. I showed you how to make your own biscuit and make a light whole wheat one. I would never recommend making a complete whole wheat one. It's too heavy. It would take away from the food that you're going to make. I tried it already. That's why I know. I still think I should add more. I'm going to add another half a cup of flour. Oh, the self-rising flour. I'm going to need a half. Something in here is telling me I'm going to need another half a cup. So I'll go ahead and add another half a cup. Okay, this should be all right for what we're doing now. Sweet potato pie right here. This is why we're not adding seasonings or flavoring or anything else, because I already have it right here, because this is what was left over from yesterday. If you need drugs to feel good, you're in poor shape. Let's see. It's got to be more than a cup. I'm going to add 1 1/4 cups and we'll see if this is too much or too little or too anything. See, the sweet potato pie has all the seasonings and everything in it, so you really don't need anything. And if I'm going to have leftovers, I might as well put it to work, right? I mean, let's not waste it, as they say. I might even try. I wonder how that would go over vanilla ice cream. I'm thinking. If you need drugs to be happy, you're one sick puppy. Sorry, that's how I feel. So you ain't gonna get it here, and I'm not gonna do it for you. Okay, I might need more. Oh yeah, we're going to need more. I might use it all. That'd be nice if I could. I'm going to get every bit of this out. I might have to add some milk into this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. This isn't enough. Okay. I'm just gonna add a little bit of milk because I don't want to take away from the flavor of this pie. So I could put an egg in there too, but I'll use some milk. Yeah, I was just missing a little bit. That's all. my basic recipe that I changed completely as usual. Do grease your tins. No, never saw Shrek. Yeah, I did make the sweet potato pie with bourbon. The recipe is under all butter crust because I started with the crust, so I named it that way. But I had my crust collapsed on one side, so I couldn't put as much into the pie crust as I wanted. So I decided, instead of throwing it out, I would use it this morning and make muffins and see how they come out. So that's where this idea came from. And I used my self-rising Euro flour that I made. I gave you that recipe too. I think it's in the newer ones about a year ago. I can't remember everything. And the only thing you had to do was add salt, whatever liquids or flavoring that you wanted, and that was it. So we'll see how these come out. But I told you saw the videos yesterday that I was going to do this today. We were going to see what we could come up with, so I didn't have to throw it out. I didn't want to throw it out. So I hate paying the companies for things. They took our ideas that we knew in the kitchen, and they're making a mint off of us. We've given away so much of our creativity as women. And men, computers have taken over their jobs. I mean, it's very rare you find a carpenter who can make pieces for you or something. And this is all going to be a lost art. And if anything happens, we're going to have to start all over learning how to do things. And don't think it can't happen. And we'll just have to relearn everything. And for those of you who are surprised that I'm as old and look the way I do, remember, I've been working on nutrition my whole life to see if it would work. And my body is definitely saying yes. Like I asked my sons, they drink. They really do drink. And I asked them, why? When they started, to be part of the big boys, I guess is what a young person would say. You think smoking weed or drinking or smoking cigarettes makes you a man. You know, this is the men I'm talking about now. It doesn't make you a man at all. You could end up being an alcoholic. You could end up being a drug addict and stuff like that. Cigarettes will definitely cause you health issues. They know this now. And if you crave smoking cigarettes, it's because you're missing a B vitamin, which is niacinamide, which the brain needs to wake up. They think, I'll tell you what makes the man. A man is a very is a very responsible person. He takes responsibilities for his actions. He also, if he falls in love, knows that he's responsible for protecting and caring for his wife and his children. He has a lot of responsibilities also of protecting the country. Oh, shoot, I forgot to take this out last night. Oh, that's hot. He has to provide for his family and everything else. So he's got a lot on his plate. Women, the health of a country rests on your shoulders, totally and completely. Businesses will try to take the cheapest route you can possibly take because they want to make money. They don't care what happens to you. They have enough money, they'll just leave the country and go to another place and take their money, so what the heck? They don't care. Your responsibility is for the home front, if you like it or not. Men go to war. They have to defend the country. They govern, and they have to protect. Women is really caring for the family, the children. If we don't sit there and care and give them the best health possible, and you depend upon the companies to make the food nutritious and healthy for you, you've already lost your cause. The education of the children fall on our shoulders. All right? It really does. When I grew up, if something broke, my father didn't have to go and call somebody. Unless it was the plumbing. Because the city requires, certain things you have to. I grew up in a small town. But repairs were done all over the house all the time. So when you actually think, men have their positions and women have theirs, and children have their place. See, this is when I say I knew my place as a child. I was not an American citizen. I was my mother's and father's daughter. I was my brother's sisters until I became an adult and took responsibilities and stuff. Then I knew the Constitution, I knew my rights. Therefore, I could say, I am an American. But up to that point, I'm my mother's child, I'm my father's child. That's all I knew up to that point. Children don't have rights until parents raise them properly to where they do know they have rights. I know all of you would say that's old-fashioned, it's this, but tell me, if this country fell, or we end up losing computers and everything else, because you depend upon them now, the family structure will have to come back, because she will have to care for those children, because if she is the only parent and she goes hunting for food because she can't sit there and go to the store because there's no more stores or anything, tell me, she's going to look to a man for that for her, because she cannot carry and sit there and fight and hunt and have little ones strapped all over her. Think about it. The way society is set up today, it was set to destroy the family structure so the government could get more money. And remember, up to 1913, we didn't even pay taxes on anything. Boy, if you knew your history, you'd be surprised how the American people have been screwed today through our government. People don't know that. We have to wait 20 minutes for that. I am 72. No, I don't do everything in the oven. I also do things on top of the stove. Well, anyway, we have 20 minutes. So give yourself a break. Okay, and I'll see you in 20 minutes. I don't know how to put this on pause, so I'm just going to have to let it run because this is a live. And I think if I press it, I think I'm going to mess it up. So I'll just leave it. My son's told me not to touch things. So if you want to make your own self-rising flour, it's very easy. Don't worry about it. You can find the video. And the Euro one, now remember, if you buy the self-rising flour in America, they add salt. But they're not using iodized salt and they're not using kelp. They're using plain salt. So think about that. People don't always think about that. That's something you should think about. Anything instant, they're going to take the shortest cut they can, or anything else. If you make your own pizza crust, and then you sit there and buy one of those frozen pizzas, you will be able to taste the difference and taste the glue or gum in it. The gum is so overpowering, it tastes horrible. They take all the flavor out of rice, potatoes, pasta, breads, rolls, and all of that. And then they say put a pinch of seasonings in. But when you use these full grains and stuff, you're not going to put a pinch of seasonings in. You're going to put a lot in there. You're going to get that full flavor that you're looking for. A lot of people don't think about that. Yeah, I use the oven a lot. I know people, and I used to be so mad about this. I saw this woman. She had 6-burner stove. She had a beautiful kitchen. It's like, oh, that would be heaven for me. And she had all the counter space and all. And she opened her freezer and she said, this is what we eat. She had frozen dinners. I wanted to pull my hair out and I said, why does she have that? That's what I needed. I needed all of that. My husband was laughing at me. He said, she'll get it. About at the halfway mark, I'll be fine. Well, they're rising, if nothing else. I got that going right. Okay, everybody's taking a break. I understand that we have to wait for the muffins. We can't move any faster than them cooking. For those of you that are just coming on, we're waiting for the muffins. They're in the oven, and I don't know how to pause this. And I just know if I pause it, I know I'm going to turn the whole thing off by accident. When anything goes wrong with my phone, my sons want to pull their hair out because I mess it up so bad. So what did you do? I said, I pressed a button. Don't press any buttons. So I don't press any buttons. They told me what I could do on my phone so I don't break it. Sorry, I'm just not computer savvy. Now, this is for any of you who are influencers, because I've checked my subscribers, and some of you are actually have YouTube channels. Be extremely careful if you are an influencer. You can't take things personal. You have to sit there and see the whole side. If you like it left or right, you either give it all or you don't do anything. This is very wrong, and if you make a mistake in doing this, they'll wait till you get way up there, and God is very, very good about this. He will take you from that high so-called pedestal that you're on, that I got all these $1 million subscribers to my channel. I'm an influencer, and he is going to drop you so low, and people have a very low opinion after you hit that area. because they want to see people fall. And if you don't believe it, you can listen to people and everything else. They like people to fall. They don't want people to make it and stay above all of that garbage. So to keep your head above, always make sure that if you're going to do something and you're an influencer, be respectful and give both sides. Don't be like a reporter moving people in a direction. Just give them the facts of whatever you're doing and let them make their decisions themselves. Americans aren't stupid. Thank you. What you're saying is health. I didn't think that many people were going to be up this morning. But it looks like I made a boo-boo. You are up. Okay. Almost. I'm going to be doing some dishes. We still got some time. You know, I see too many influencers. And unless if you're selling a product, you should use it for a time frame, a good time frame. And if you're a young person, you can't talk about creams and stuff that work to keep a young face. Only an older person can do that. I see people talking and say this one vitamin does this. No, one vitamin doesn't do anything. It's a whole diet. And they set it up to where, like Manjaro, they set it up where you only take a little at a time. They give you a little bit. So you have to stay on it constantly. So they always have that money coming in. And that's wrong. I try to give you information and let you help yourself. So you have to be careful. If you're following an influencer, be careful of what they say and always go for other opinions. And if an influencer is selling something, find out how long they've been using it. Like they sat there and said, I remember we always had wooden cutting boards. I go through wooden cutting boards like crazy. My mother did not have one for me and one for vegetables. She used one cutting board. All of you got very upset about it. But I've been doing it all my life. Hello, I'm 72 and I'm not dead yet. And I'm not sick. And then they came out and I remember people were saying, oh, this. And I used that blue one, but it was stained, but you guys thought it was filthy and this and that and carried on about it. I had used it for years, be it meat, vegetables, fruit, bread, whatever. I was going to use it. And then after we used it and mine was breaking down, they come out with this new one and they say, well, that one leaves little pieces of wood. The plastic leaves a little bit of this, and now you're going to use this one. They have not tested that metal long enough. And so if somebody's selling it to you, I would not even attempt using that. And I'll wait 10, 15 years. And if it's still around and it's not having any side effects, because they're putting a lot of things out on the market that you don't know the side effects of what happens to it and how it breaks down and how it gets into your body. What is natural? Okay, I'm not going to go out there and eat a tree or anything like that, but I've used wooden cutting boards all my life and they haven't given me any problems, so there's no reason why I should be having problems with them now. So you've got to be careful. They're putting a lot of things out on the market, like a lot of the medications you take today, they say they're new. Guess what? The pharmaceutical companies had those on the shelves in the 1950s and 60s, and remember, I'm an old girl. They were known as dangerous, and now they hand them out. And if you ever got a hold of a physician's desk reference book, they only give them to doctors. If you have somebody in the medical profession, you're lucky. I want you to know, they say it does this, right? But the side effects are like that. And you wonder why we're sick, and you wonder why women are getting old fast, men are blowing up, why we're having all the medical issues. Hey, listen, Alzheimer's wasn't known. People were eating whole grains, Alzheimer's, a B6 deficiency. to the point where the body doesn't absorb it. Now, if a person is taking B6 and it's not working for him, it's because his intestines have chemicals, the chemicals in the food. They hold the food together, so once they get in the stomach, they're going to adhere. And remember, you're putting different combinations because you're not using just one food. You're using canned this, frozen this. So you're buying all these things with different chemicals to keep them fresh on the shelf. So when you put them in there, you're making a whole new ball game. Poisonville, but how's it going to take to it? You see? Let's check these. Oh, shoot. Turn that back up to 400, Sandra. What were you thinking about? I don't know. You want to open this door carefully. A few more minutes and they'll be done. So you're doing this and you're believing what you're reading and you're believing influencers and everything else. If I haven't used it, I'm not going to recommend it. If somebody gives it to me and says, would you sell this? We're going to have a problem because I'm going to have to use it first. I am making sweet potato pie muffins because I had some of the filling left over. So you have to, some things you say I don't understand. I don't know. But anyway, you have to think about this. And like I said, the men have their positions. One guy came after me and he said, I want to talk with you. I said, fine, you can talk. He's younger than me, but I said, fine, I'll talk with you. I'll talk to anybody as long as you're nice. Every morning, he sent me a message. And it would take me 10 minutes to read it, and it was verses in the Bible. I mean, he went on and on and on and on and on. So after 6 weeks of this, and he did this every day, I never answered him or anything. I wrote one message: quit preaching to me with 4 exclamation points. You wanted to talk, no, you want to preach. So I hadn't seen him since I wrote that, I'd say about 2 months. And then I saw him, and he was cold and nasty, and I said, well, you can't take rejection. Well, can you? I didn't need that. So I decided I'd be polite and said, well, Merry Christmas. He didn't say anything. So I sat there and said, listen, I want you to have a happy holiday. He said, I don't celebrate pagan holidays. I said, okay, well, you're just going to take the day off, just take it easy. He said, no, I'm going to work. I said, don't you have any siblings? Siblings is brothers and sisters that you could go visit, and just relax. I'm not telling him to celebrate. I'm telling him to enjoy his life. And he said, it's a pagan holiday. I'm not doing that. And she lives in Florida, and I'm not going down there. And I'm saying, okay, Mr. Sourpuss in my head, if you want to be like that, knock yourself out if you want to be miserable, but I'm not going to be miserable. What I really wanted to tell him was go drink a glass of apple cider vinegar, because that had alkaline, he'd be in better spirits. Now, I don't celebrate Christmas with Santa Claus. Mine is a celebration of Christ being born. No, it's not his original birthday. That's another thing I know. But I don't have his original day, so I give him this day. Like all Christians, we give him this day with his birthday. Okay, here they are. Okay, they're hot. I'm going to take one out and I'm going to try without burning my fingers, and we'll see how good they are. Because this was an experiment, because I had leftover sweet potato pie. See? They didn't burn. I had to be careful. Let's check the texture on this. Oh, look at that texture. See? Oh. What a way to finish up, right? Pie. Mm. Mm, that's nice. Hot, but nice. If you have any pumpkin pie, sweet potato pie left, the filling, and it doesn't fit in your pie crust, definitely make these. You will not be disappointed. Oh, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to enjoy these. I hope you try that pie, though, because these muffins taste that good, but I can imagine what that pie is going to taste like. Yes, it does. What happens is your body, when you get sick, your body becomes acid. And it's got to be a balance of alkaline and acid. But sometimes, especially eating candies and stuff, will cause your acid to go up and your alkaline to drop. You're going to get sick automatically. But apple cider vinegar, you take a capful or a teaspoon, and I use a mug of boiled water, and you drink it. How long do you drink it? Until you can't take it anymore. Okay, then your body's so alkaline that you can't, you look at it and say, I can't, and you put it down. That's why people get sick. Now, I did notice that I always kept my family's balance alkaline. We didn't really get sick. It was very rare we got a cold. The doctor thought my older son had asthma. No, he has an allergic reaction to the fine hairs of animals, and I've got 2 cats, so he's fine from spring till autumn. Once I closed the windows, he said, Mommy. I said, I know what the problems we're going through. But that's what you do. This came from the ARE through a reading, and I know when I'm getting sick, I'll sit there and I'll start, or you can just feel like you're under the weather a bit, start in. Liquor also causes your body to go acid as well. So you can see, or if you eat too many, if you don't eat right, balancing like 2 vegetables above the ground to 1 that's below the ground. This is why I use salads, because I always try to keep that balance up. Salads are excellent. You can put fruit, vegetables, nuts, everything. You just start packing it in there. Put it with the meal, and you can make any kind of dressing that you want instead of buying them. They're very easy to make. I always cover that balance. You're supposed to have 1 starch per meal. So you've got to think of that, because the more starch you get, those are your potatoes, your breads, your sweets, candies, all of these cause, and liquor will cause it to go up. Medication causes your acidity to go up as well. And once it goes up, you're always sick. So when you start on medication, you might feel all right, but the longer you're on it, you start noticing you get sick faster. So you always have to remember that to keep your body balanced in that fact. That's why I use whole grains. I always make sure I get our B vitamins. I always make sure I try to get our minerals in. So you see me add the wheat germ, or you see me adding whole wheat and all of this. Like I made whole wheat crescent rolls. I actually used a 50-50 recipe, and they are light and airy and delicious. I didn't think they were going to turn out that good, but they did. I didn't show you that recipe because I said, I'm adding a lot of whole wheat. I don't know if these are going to come out really well. I sort of played with it, but I did, and they came out. So as you eat like this, healthy, if you're in your 30s and 40s and you're starting to notice you're getting sick, you sit there and do that. But remember, every time you, and I hate to say, every time you take a drug, legal or illegal, every time you sit there and have a drink, I'm talking, I hate that. Look, I'm going to go to the store and buy you. Keeps blinking off and on, one of my light bulbs. Every time you do that, have a drink, you're interfering, and remember, your cells are going to be drunk probably for about 3 days before they recover from it, and that's why you feel so bad after you've been drinking. You wake up the next morning. So these are a lot of things that go on that cause your body to be acid. Now, the preservatives they put in the food, I don't know. I have to admit it, I don't know if they make your body go acid, but I do know that they're used to bind things together and everything else. When I can tomatoes, and I use part of the can, well, we call it canning, I'll put it in the refrigerator. It can be there for weeks, almost a month before it goes bad. But you open a can of tomatoes from the store, use part of it and put the rest in the refrigerator, within 7 days it's going to go bad. This is because they have it in warehouses over 5 years. So if you see the expiration date, they're coming to the end of it, so they're giving it to you to hurry up and use. That's why when we went through the COVID, you could still buy some foods because there were backlogs in the warehouses. Okay? So listen, you take care now. I've given you enough on all of this. I've got to go now because I've got to make we're going to be making yam rolls. I'm going to see how they come out too. You're very welcome. You'll see me in a few minutes. I have something else I have to do. Bye-bye for now.